The spring 2021 season of anime is fully underway, and so far it's been absolutely insane. We've gotten some highly anticipated adaptations such as 86 and Eden Zero, to some pretty amazing anime originals such as Odd Taxi. Most of these new anime have some pretty fantastic openings, but none resonated with me more as much the series I was most excited for, Tokyo Revengers. The entry opening to this time travel suspense story, Crybaby by official Hige Dandism, is known globally as an absolute banger of an opening theme. I myself have lost count of how many times I've watched it, but I did notice some very interesting ties to the story and wanted to dedicate a whole video to analyzing them. This analysis will have some minor spoilers to the rest of the series, but I will try my best to avoid them. The opening starts off with a title card and a very grim yet seemingly bright overview of the city of Tokyo. Our main character Takemichi Hanegaki is shown walking alone in the city with a very disdained look on his face. This I would imagine represents Takemichi's original life, where he was nothing but a deadbeat. As the perspectives change to the side view, his timely partner Naoto Tachibana walks past, and Takemichi's face turns into a look of shock, and when the camera pans back towards the front, he's wearing a look of action. This is followed by a very cool looking timely transition. As we move to the past, we get a look at some of the characters from there. The first, Manjiro Sano, also known as Mikey, the leader of the Tokyo Manji gang, is faced towards the camera, but only makes eye contact with it for a single frame before averting them again. His vice leader and best friend Ryuguchi Ken, also known as Draken, has a very similar shot. He faces away from the camera, but when he looks towards it, he draws not a smile on his face, but a rather worried look, most probably about Mikey in this instance. Takemichi's love interest Hinata Tachibana is shown from a distance and up close, but in each frame of the shot she's smiling, something very unusual for the time set by the story, but not as unusual for her past apparition. It is worth noting, however, that she's the only character that has been shown smiling thus far. The next two shots are of Takemichi's Mizo middle friends looking back at him, and a really cool shot of Shifuyu that I like to talk about for hours on end, but they don't have any other significance rather than to show them for the next part of the opening. See, the next part shows Takemichi trying to reach out to his friends as mentioned before, but then comes the chorus and yikes. From here on out, there will be some spoilers for the story that will only be displayed much later on, so please move to this timestamp as shown on screen to avoid them. As I said before, Takemichi tries to reach out to his friends, but this cuts to shots of him walking in the rain, with the look of powerlessness on his face. All while they show this, we get flashes of upcoming instances where he fails instead of the ones where he succeeds, such as where Kiyomasa stabs him and Draken and Hina's deaths. Also shown here are flashes of our main villains in the story in Baji, Kazutora, and Hanma. I found it interesting that alongside these villain shots, we get a shot of the Tokyo Manji gang in the past when it was formed, so as to say that Takemichi views the gang as a whole as villains as he originally did. As he looks upwards, we get a back shot of all the current people in Toma, which is beautifully moved to a shot of the main villain himself, Kisaki Teta, trying to grab them, as in trying to take control of it. Takemichi tries to knock him down, but he gets knocked back and has a face of despair as he sinks back into an explosion. This explosion, I would imagine, represents Kisaki's plans, and Takemichi falling back into it would represent him falling for his plans every time. Moving back into the future, Takemichi looks down at the scar on his hand and clenches his fist in determination. We see Hina in the future, who has an incredibly scared look on her face, and Takemichi reaches out to grab her, only failing to do so. As he fails, we see him on the ground crying at his own uselessness in his effort to save Hina. He looks up to see a determined Naoto, and then they shake hands in order to try again. Another time leap transition in which Takemichi's future self looks raring and ready to fight, but as it switches to his past, he looks almost shocked. This could be linked to what I said in my previous video about him thinking that Toman are bad people, but rather finds out he was way off the mark. His face turns to that of a smile, as opposed to having his vengeful look, and Toman's leaders Mikey and Draken look back and smile at him as he runs towards them. After watching this over a million times, I can say for certain that Crybaby is going down as one of my favorite opening things of all time. A weird mix of ReZero's Realize and Erased Riri, this is for certain an absolute banger. Thank you for watching. My name is the Black Bakai, and this video has been about Tokyo Revengers.